But at that time in London, 2003, 2004, it was pirate radio, it was youth clubs, it was on the corner. That's very testosterone, very boisterous. And around my era, people were still using knives. There was knife crime and stuff, and gun crime and stuff, but it was very limited. And it was interesting. I remember the cell, like the blue mattress, and then the graffiti. And anyone who went into cells that time would graph their name on the, whether it's a pen or it's like whatever, they've got a sharp object. So I could see loads of names just scratched into there, and I'm like, oh, he's been here before. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember some of these bars. I'm cold like frostbite. Me and my crew come cold like frostbite. Come like a gun, button you in one. Like, it was violent. That's all we knew. When we grew up, it's like it was kind of animalistic. It's like the strongest person is the most feared. How do you change that when history shows us what has happened, you know, in America, in here? No blacks, no dogs, no Irish. They follow the rappers. They follow what the rappers are doing. So if the rappers turn around and go, that ain't it, then that ain't it. Excels on talking about killing each other, you know, sleeping with our women, pimping them. It's only so for me, I look at this, and I will be that conspiracy theorist and say, based on what I see, there is an agenda.
How do you feel?
Just powerful. I feel like when I hold the mic and I'm on the stage, it's my stage and you're going to listen, and the voice of God is going to flow through me and no one can say nothing. Words from the Deuteronomy seen in today's reality. Grab me a shank, I had to cut off all this vanity. I ain't begging for equality. Karma will soon speak for the bloodshed, atrocities.
On this week's show, I have an MC who is really pushing the levels. Highly skillful, very positive and articulate, who pushes the boundaries and has such an impact and message within his lyrics. He's a powerhouse of energy and lights up any stage he's present on. He's an absolute diamond geezer. We've got the one and the only, the boy Nash, aka the great Nash in the place.
Yes, Nash. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. That was one hell of an intro.
Well, listen, mate, honestly, I come across you on the DJ AG site on Instagram, who's doing amazing things on Instagram, and you blew me away. I was like, who's this guy? I thought, I've got to get in touch with him, reach out to you on Instagram and get you in the cab, because you had such a message within your lyrics. It kind of touched me, seriously. I become a fan instantly.
Perfect, thank you.
As soon as I heard you, I was like, I've got to meet Nash.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, man. It's an honour.
Yeah, and I really can't wait to chat about your new EP as well, which... What's your new EP called?
It's called Leave the World Behind.
Leave the World Behind.
Yeah, 4 tracks. I think a lot of the time I'm just, like this year, I just want to put music out, like, quickly. I don't want to hold on to music. I think I spent a lot of the time creating 10-track projects and just kind of waiting to throw it out. But now I'm just doing them short, 4 tracks, 2 tracks, 3 tracks. So that's one of the mini projects that I'm going to be dropping, or EPs.
Yeah, well, I can't wait. And also at the end of this cab chat, anyone watching this, do not go anywhere, because hopefully Nash is going to be dropping a live one in the back of the cab, which I know the cab is going to be shook up. We're going to have to stick the old stabilisers on it.
Oh, geez,
there's going to be flames coming out of it, but no, it's going to be amazing. And I'll tell you what, first things first as well, how'd you get your name Nash?
That's my surname, so Nash is my surname, but Boy Nash, I was in Ghana, and at the time I started rapping. I finished secondary school back in Ghana, and there was a group. We was in a group. There was 3 of us. It was me, Looney, and a guy called Nova. And he came up to me and he was like, we just started making music. So my name's George, and I was like, oh yeah, George Nash. And then after we did our first track together, it kind of blew up on the underground scene. And then I went to then I went to the studio. And I had a song called I Am the Boy Nash, which I recorded at J Soul's studio. J Soul's a prominent producer in Ghana, like he's worked with a lot of people. And when I recorded it, the chorus was I Am the Boy Nash. Dun, dun, dun.
And it kind of stuck.
And everyone just started calling me the Boy Nash, and that's where the Boy Nash came from.
Oh, wicked. Yeah. I always love to ask where you get your name from. Yeah. And listen, I can't wait to chat history, talk about the inspirations, the music, and also hopefully maybe kind of a little positive message, because I know, you're into positivity
100%.
And pushing people forward.
100.
Which is what I'm all about as well, to be honest with you.
100.
So it's going to be an absolutely incredible cab chat. Yeah. But first, Nash, first 2 questions I always ask is, like, whereabouts are you from? And what was it like growing up, as a kid?
Oh, okay. So I'm from 2 different parts, but ideally I'm from Mitcham Eastfields. That's like a little town near Croydon. That's where I grew up predominantly from like 0 to 14. Then probably from 14 to 21, I spent that in a place in Ghana called Adenta, Accra, in the capital. So I have two different upbringings. So that's why I am the way I am, to be fair. I have the Ghanaian elements in me, which I got when I was 14. And I have the London or Mitcham sort of elements in me, which I grew up from like 0 to 14.
What kind of music was you growing up on? I mean, what was it back? What era was you growing up in? Like
2004, 2000, about 2000, yeah, from about, I remember 2003, 2004. So around the whole era of when Wiley was coming out with Who Ate All the Pies, Dizzy Rascal. So I grew up on the era of sets. We would always link up and, you know, we would listen to pirate radio or we'd record sets in the youth club, and everyone's like, grew up in the grime days when grime was, it wasn't even called grime. I remember it was called it UK Garage or, yeah, and then it turned into grime. So around when Dizzy Rascal dropped Boy in the Corner, you know, that's the era which I was in. So a lot of crews, a lot of sets, a lot of clashes, 16-bar battles in the playground. In Mitcham Town Centre, there was loads of battles there. Like,
what was that like? The battles? I mean, that must have been like that must have been like your kind of the place where you'd kind of learn your craft.
Yes, yeah, 100%. I think
because it's no joke, is it? Battling.
It was like, I remember Wimbledon College. There was a rapper called Screw, and I remember he had these bars. I'm S to the K to the R to the U. You don't know about me, I'm Screw. You know. Then you had so many different like rappers, but it was all grime. It was all that fast flow. We would all huddle around and everyone knew everyone's bars, you know. And then you had like Even Steven, any man try test won't believe, and then I spit a bit about it. It was all of that kind of energy. It was amazing because it's like, that's where, like, to see the scene now and to even talking to you now and having a nostalgic feel of going back there, it's like, rah, that's where this came from. But it was amazing. It was like, you were popular based, like people knew MCs, like, yeah, that's Screw, oh yeah, that's my man over there, oh that's this brother, like, you know, we knew each other and we had respect for each other, you know.
That's kind of foundation, that's kind of like your grassroots.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I love some of that grime music, you know, it's got a real kind of impact to it as well, isn't it? And a message.
Yeah.
Well, hip hop always has.
Yeah.
Hip hop comes from the streets.
Yes.
You know, as soon as I heard Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, The Message, that was kind of, for me in 1982, that was kind of a game-changing tune.
Okay, for you, yeah.
So that's what, you know, grime probably has as well. It's like to get your message out there, isn't it?
Yeah, grime was more, I don't know, it was like, it was for the streets. But I think them days, being in crews and being on that wave of grime, it was cool. So everyone, you know, wanted to be cool, and you know, it's like you could only hear it on pirate radio. It was kind of exclusive. I mean, hip hop was there, and I was listening to hip hop, but at that time in London, 2003, 2004, it was pirate radio. It was youth clubs. It was on the corner. That's what it was.
Grime is a UK thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so I started from that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's where I come from. Like, I remember, I think one of my old bars, I'm cold like frostbite. Me and my crew come cold like frostbite. You know about me? Like, I used to, like, I had these and that's how I got myself into this whole popularity, because I was brought into the crew because I could rap. It was like my way of being accepted, almost, you know? Yeah.
And did you, you know, like we was talking earlier, you know, it was like there was crews or gangs or whatever you wanted to call it. Was you in any kind of crews back then as a kid growing up?
Yeah, LMS. Everyone was in a crew. Like, I think it was cool to be in a crew. I think nowadays they call it gangs, and it's like, yeah, you're in a gang. But when you say a gang, it sounds so violent, like, oh my gosh. But back then it was called crews. And like, you could be a part of different crews. I remember growing up, there was bare crews when I grew up. I think I went to Rutlish. So there was a crew called TZ back then. I wasn't a part of that. Then there was TDD, there was NDP, there was different ones. But where I grew up, there was an area. I was part of a crew called LMS.
What did LMS stand for?
Last Man Standing.
Last Man Standing.
Yeah, Last Man Standing, Lethal Minded Soldiers. But I wasn't part of the crew in terms of the badness of what they were doing. I was part of the crew because I could rap, and I grew up in the area and I used to hang around those guys. But because I could rap, it was a big thing. It's like, yo, every crew had their sort of rapper. You get what I'm saying?
So
And
you
they're
was the crew's rapper?
I was one of them. I wasn't the main,
Right.
but I was one of them. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Because I didn't really keep up. I was bad. I was bad, but I didn't really keep up with the full badness that they were on. But I was around them. Do you get what I'm saying? And I could rap. So it's like, yeah, bring him to the set. That's Booms. Bring him to the set. Let's hear what he's got. You know what I mean? And that's how I kind of, from there, that's where the rap sort of, it grows for me. That's where I become who I am.
Where it
like,
evolved.
Yes.
Evolved.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's where I start to evolve.
What was kind of, you know, crew life or gang life like? Was it quite like, would you say quite negative, or was it kind of quite positive? Did it feel like you was part of a family, or?
Do you know what? I was so young. I was 14 at that time. I'll be so honest. I didn't even know what the hell. I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't like. When I sit back in my older mind and I reflect back, I'm like, what were we? We didn't. I don't think even we knew what we were doing, man.
You were just hanging out.
We were just hanging out, getting into fights. You know, going into the corner shop and robbing it. You know, smoking weed, drinking beers, just chilling on the block. You know, other guys out there going on their moves, whatever they're doing. But it was just like, it was kind of like a family. It's one for all for one. Do you get what I'm saying? So like, if he's got a problem, then I've got a problem. You know, if I've got a problem, then he's got a problem. Do you know what I mean? So for me, when I was younger, I got into so many fights. I think I was notorious, but I wasn't notorious to where I was hurting people, but I was fighting a lot. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I went to a boys' school, and when you're in crew life, you're boisterous. And I had so much energy, so it's like I probably fought everyone. I was just fighting left, right. You know what I mean? But you wouldn't imagine now. I look back, I'm like, what the hell were you even doing, man? But it was very testosterone, very boisterous, and around my era, people were still using knives. There was knife crime and stuff, and gun crime and stuff, but it was very limited. Like I remember, like back in school, it'll be like, "What? You've got a problem with me, yeah? All right, we're gonna have a fight after school." And then the whole school gathers. We go to a location, the whole school gathers and goes, yeah, we're going to sort it out with a punch up. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's how it was. The old school way. The old school way. That's how it was. Yeah. So we'd go around a little back bend and be like, yeah, you got a problem with me? All right, we're going to have a punch up. And we'd end up fist fighting it. And then if you got dropped, everyone stamps you out. And then that's it. But it's not like crazy stamping you out. But it's like, oh, you got hit, you got knocked. We're just young kids. And then that was it, you know. But in terms of going the extra mile with stabbings and all of that, that did happen and that did occur, but I personally was never a part of that. Do you know what I mean? I was just with the fist fighting.
Well, I want to talk a little bit later about, you know, about how we can maybe try and kind of heal society in some way. Yeah. Because it is kind of, for me, it's kind of a breaking point, isn't it? Yeah. So what happened? Did you go to, so you went to Ghana? You went to Ghana for 7 years? Yeah, so it got to a point, I went Rutlish. Yes, like I went to Ghana. When did I go Ghana? Just year 6, and then year 7 I went Ghana. And was that to get away from the game?
I was just naughty.
Yeah.
And my mum's just like, you know what, son? Yeah, this guy's naughty. You gotta go learn some manners. I go back there for 2 years.
Was your mum strict?
She wasn't strict, but I think she was very anxious because of how I was. And obviously my dad wasn't around, so it was like, I'm just this boisterous guy, and maybe she's just thinking, I don't know how she thought in it, but maybe she's just thinking, can't control this guy, man. This guy needs to go and live with his uncle and learn some manners. Do you get what I'm saying? So I've gone there for 2 years, whatnot, and then I've come back to the UK for year 8 and year 9. And when I've got to year 9, it's just getting reckless, and my mum's just going, yeah, you gotta go. So I think it was one time I got I think the straw which messed everything up was I got arrested. I went cinema. We went to Wimbledon and we went cinema. And this was normal for us. Like, we were kids. We didn't even know our rights. Like, all this stop and search and all of that stuff. I reckon I could have sued the police if I knew my rights. So they stopped and searched me and my friends. But this stop and search, we've come out of Wimbledon. I was with my girlfriend at the time. Come out of Wimbledon cinema. We're heading back to Phipps Bridge, Mitcham. And then police stop us. And they do the routine stop and search, you know. But this stop and search is different because they've let all my friends go and they've kept me and one other brother. I forgot his name at the moment, but they've kept me and one other brother, and I've gone, hold on a minute, and they've gone, yeah, we're gonna have to take you to the station. That's the first time I've been like arrested. I'm thinking, what? I'm 40, like, go to the station? Like,
why did they take you to the station?
So they didn't even tell me. They said I matched the description. They said somebody had dumped bullets in the road across, and I fit the description. I was wearing a green hat. We had these green hats which were like caps, but they had woolen, like a wool hat. It was a green hat. It's like a cap with wool over it. So I was wearing one of those caps. I don't know what they were called. They were old school hats.
Was all the crew wearing them hats, or was it?
It was just me.
Oh, you're right.
And I was wearing a green Nike jumper, a green jumper, and a green tracksuit. And they've gone, yeah, you match the description. So they've taken me to the cell. From what I remember, they've gone to me. They've given me 3 options. I think it's speak to a lawyer, call your mum, or something else. I can't remember. And I've gone, boy, this is the first time I've been in this predicament. You know, let me call my mum. So I called my mum, and I think she just panicked. Like, what the hell? You're in a police state? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I know you was getting excluded from school, or you was internally you was naughty at school, but now you're in
the cell.
Now you're climbing up the ladders. You know what I mean? Like, yo, what's going on here? So I think they came down, and then they've gone back to my mum's house, kicked down the door in search of what they thought was a weapon. So now it's like my mum's like, right, police have come to the house and kicked down the door because my mum's come to get me. So they've gone to my house, still thinking I'm the culprit. I've spoken to the lawyer. My mum's gone, are you sure you didn't do this? I said, Mum, I didn't do nothing, man. Like, I just went cinema. I'm coming home. Like, I don't even, at that time, I've never even seen a gun before, like, let alone bullets. And then they've gone, okay. I've spoken to the lawyer. They've kept me there the whole night, I think. And it was interesting. I remember the cell, like the blue mattress, and then the graffiti, and anyone who went into cells that time would graph their name on the, whether it's a pen or it's like whatever, they've got a sharp object. So I could see loads of names just scratched into there, and I'm like, oh, he's been here before. Oh, because I remember their names from the roads. Like, oh yeah, that's who they talk about. Because back then, if you was the strongest, you was like the most coolest. Like, everyone knows you. Oh, that's my man. Oh, that's the name. So I'm like, oh, so you've been here before. You've been here. Long story short, they let me out on bail. They invite me back a month later, and they tell me I'm all clear. But by that time, I feel like my mum had already made up her mind. You know, you're going in it. So that's how I ended up in Ghana. Like, you know.
And was it a lot stricter in Ghana?
Oh, it's brutal in Ghana, man. Like, we're talking about canes. We're talking about that.
Well, that was the old school way in London. You'd get a cane, like, or the belt or the slipper if you were bad. Yeah, that's the old school way in London. Yeah. Parents used to distill respect into you.
Really?
With like, you get this slipper or like, if you was bad at school, you get the cane. That kind of changed around, I think it was 85, or they stopped doing that.
Okay.
Would you say that pushed respect into you?
It's good. I would say it put respect into me, but it also left me with this, it changed me, man. Like I flinch a lot. When I came back, I flinch a lot because it's like you're always dodging a cane or dodging a wire, or so you don't know what's coming. It kind of made me a bit, it makes you, it distills, it helps you, but I feel it also blocks you in a certain way. Like in Ghana, I think Ghana made me feel like, it's like when you're young in Ghana, you don't have an opinion. It's like, oh, you're just a kid. Shut up, man, you're just a kid. Like, you can't express yourself. You can't really, like, so it changed me in that respect, where I kind of, being this kid that was out, going everywhere, everyone knowing me.
And you had a big voice.
Yes, I had a voice. I had a huge voice. I knew everyone. But it changed me to be more reserved. I became more in a shell a bit more. So it had its positive things, because if I had stayed here, I would have probably ended up dead or in jail.
Because is that usually the way, the 2 ways out? You're going to get banged up or stabbed up or whatever.
I was loyal. I was hot-headed. Do you get it? Like, I stuck to the code. I'm loyal. Do you get it? Like, so if my friend's got a problem, then we've all got a problem. Do you know what I mean? And I got out of London when knife crime was getting to a level where people were getting stabbed. So I wasn't in that pandemic of knife crime. I was in Ghana. But if I was here, 100% I would have been involved in that, because a few people died in my area. Do you get what I'm saying? If dangerous things really happened, you know, around where I lived, you know, my best friend, like, I always talk to my best friend, like, when we was growing up, Hounds, and I'm like, bro, like, he went to jail twice. That was my right hand. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I was with him 24/7 most days. So if he's going to jail, then obviously I would have been a part of that.
Do you know? Family.
Yeah. So it's like, Ghana saved me from that life, you know. Definitely.
Would you say as an MC, you was MCing before you went to Ghana?
Yeah.
Was it a lot more anger within your lyrics?
100. Yeah, it was violent, man. Lethal. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember some of these bars. I'm cold like frostbite. Me and my crew come cold like frostbite. Come like a gun. Button you in one. Like, it was just. It was violent. That's all we knew. It was like, yeah, that was it. Because when we grew up, it's like it was kind of animalistic. It's like the strongest person is the most feared. It just is what it is. You know, the baddest person is the most feared. So
whoever's got the baddest kind of lyrics, they were kind of.
Not even that. It was the person who could back it. But then you had the people that were lyrical with it and they had the name, but then you also had the lyrical ones who were violent with it. So it was like when we grew up, it was more like, yeah, he's a bad boy, you know. But mostly all of the bad boys did rap, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was an interesting time. It was an interesting time.
So when you got back from Ghana, would you say your message, your delivery, your MC flow, your skills and all that, and the message, did that kind of change?
100%. I think
in what way?
Because deep down in myself, I've always been a spiritual and deep person. When I look back at it, I think these things of who you are is embedded in you. It's things that trigger it to bring it out. So even though I was naughty, I was raised in the church. My mum went to church. My stepdad was a reverend. Do you get what I'm saying? Like when I was in Ghana is crazy on church. So I got into that spiritual aspect and I started to see life differently. Do you get what I'm saying? So I remember coming back to Ghana, coming back to the UK 2011, having changed. I've done a full circle. You know, I've gone from chilling in crews to going to all night prayer sessions and being in church every Sunday because it's custom. And obviously when I'm between the ages of 14 onwards to like 21, you're absorbing all of that information. So I'm learning a lot about the Bible. I'm having dreams. I'm having visions. I'm seeing certain things. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm starting to understand, wow, the world's different. Like things are different. So I remember even coming back to London 2011 for holidays. And Hounds always tells me this story. And Hounds and them lot, they're deep in a trap. They're doing what they're doing. And they've gone, yeah, he's telling his friends, yo, yeah, my guy's coming, man. Booms, he's coming from Ghana, man. He's been gone for a minute. He's coming back. And I've walked into this house with them and I've gone, yo, guys, we got to change our lives around, you know. And they've all looked at me like,
what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Because they've known me as this violent guy, just fighting, going around doing madness, to this. What? We've got to change our lives around, brother. You are confused. Like he was like, from that day, House was like, what? It was very confusing for him. So it's like Ghana gave me that whole 360 spin. Totally, man.
How does it make you feel, like what you're seeing and hearing on the streets, things are going on? How would you kind of say we could, you know, bring more unity? And
do you know what? I'll be honest with you. From how gang culture was or how crew culture was when I was growing up to how it is now, I'm not versed on how it is now, but my understanding of it is, I think some of it is inherited. I think it's to do with money. I think it's to do with poverty. I think it's to do with education. I think these are the problems within the community. So from my brethren who was involved in that, he was like, bro, like, I grew up in a crack house. It's just how it was. Like, your dad does it, your uncle does it, and then you do it. You know, like certain people that I know that were shot and they were like, yo, dad shots. It's just how it is. It's inherited. You get what I'm saying? So some of it is very deep rooted. And then when you have gang culture where lives have been taken, it's so hard for you to say, yo, we're going to join hands because there's been loss of lives here. Do you get what I'm saying? I think
how can we mend them bridges? You know, how can we heal?
Opportunities and education and love.
Give the kids more places to go as kids and be kids.
Yeah, youth centres
shutting down and
no fun. There's no opportunities. I think everything comes down to opportunities. Like, I've met real people that are in the streets doing what they're doing, and these are my close friends that I know. And when we get, because they know I'm a deep guy, there's certain people we can have those deep conversations, and it's like you hear some of them say, I don't even want to do this. This is not it. I don't. People, you think I like this? I really don't. Trust me, I'm bored of it. Do you get what I'm saying? But there's no. The other way seems so bleak. You tell someone who makes £100 an hour to go make 15, 20 pound an hour doesn't make sense. That's the problem here. Do you get what I'm saying? It's the money, and now it's...
Why has everything got to be about the money though? Just be happy with what you've got. What is it because, like, you know, social media and all this kind of stuff is kind of affecting people's mentality? Is that what some of it's to do with?
We fuel our ego now. You know, a lot of people, we live by the ego. You get what I'm saying? And we live in a social media era, especially in this day and age where we see how people live. We see what people do. We see in people's houses now. Before it was never that. We wouldn't see people's houses back then. It is 100% the ego.
And like the watch you're wearing or the trainers you've got on or whatever.
And the finances to live a certain, like the standard of living now is the job roles and what's out there now cannot match the standard of living. Like you put someone on, like, not saying being on 23k is bad, but you tell a drug dealer to stop selling drugs and go on a 25k salary to look after his kids and his mum and his wife. It's not going to make sense. That could probably just cover his rent in London. So the crime can't stop because the standard of living and the jobs are not adding up. You got people doing 2 jobs nowadays, just 2 jobs nowadays, just staying afloat. You know, so it's difficult.
And would you say, like, in terms of the police as well, do you think they need to kind of change the way they actually police as well? I know they've got a really hard job and all that, but all this kind of, you know, it must be difficult for them, but they've also had a bad rep throughout the past.
Yeah, I think they've abused their power throughout the past. I think
because we need a police force that we can kind of trust.
I've had encounters with them which I hate. So the situation of the encounter, I hated it. Like, I remember getting stopped by police and I'm thinking, bro, like what have I done? Like, I haven't done nothing. No. And I've seen 2 cars pull up, then I've turned around and there's 2 undercovers behind me. I'm like, hold on a minute, what's going on here? Yeah, where's your license? I'm like, I just feel like you're racially profiling me. And I remember the police officer said to me, that's old news now. Come on, mate, that's old news. You know, it's like, I think in order for us, I think we have to police the police. And I think there needs to be more education on our rights. You know, once we know our rights, we know how to respond to the police. A lot of us don't know our rights, and the police abuse that because we don't know our rights. And I think that's where the problem is. I think
we don't need this bridge. We don't need this barrier. We need to, you know, really, we need that kind of unity, don't we?
Yeah.
We need a lot of trust.
Yeah, but you see, with me, like, I've got this rebel mentality where it's like, oh, it's hard to trust the system, man. Do you get it? And that's how we feel, like, especially a lot of black people, and like, I can speak for a percentage of black people, not every black person, but a lot of us feel hard done by. Some of us walk around with a chip on our shoulder. Maybe we shouldn't walk around with that chip on our shoulder, you know, but there's a lot of that, oh yeah, maybe because I'm black, or it's maybe because I got locks, or so there's already, it's like, how do you change that when history shows us what has happened, you know, in America, in here, no blacks, no dogs, no Irish, you know, you look at the civil rights movement, it's like, a lot of us are still walking with that chip on our shoulder. Even myself, I got to a point I had to be like, no, not every white person's racist, not every white, you're not getting stopped because you're black. It's like, it's like a mind-boggling thing. It's a lot of education, you 100%. Know. It's really down to education.
So do you think there should be like a documentary made that's kind of like a hard-hitting documentary that can be played within, like, say, schools to, say, 10 to 11-year-olds just before, you know, they get to sort of secondary school? There's going to be a hard-hitting documentary to say, look, don't get involved with this, don't go down that route, because, and also like interviews, you know, people like yourself, the emergency services, ex-gang members, and, you know, and really put like a positive thing out there to kind of hopefully get the kids of today on the right track.
I think the power lies with the rappers. I think the power lies with the musicians, and then rappers will say the power lies with the powers that be, the labels. The powers lie with those who are investing in that. It's a trickling effect. But we look at the kids of today, they follow the rappers. They follow what the rappers are doing. So if the rappers turn around and go, that ain't it, then that ain't it. So I think we need more investment within positive rap and positive music. But the jig and the truth is, maybe the powers that be want it like this. Do you get it? They want it like this. You know, maybe they want order in chaos. Maybe they want this. This is what they need. You know, we got prisons that are owned privately. You know, when we start looking at business and we start looking at businessmen and people that invest in this, it's only the black community that thrives and makes sales on talking about killing each other, you know, sleeping with our women, pimping them. It's only so for me, I look at this, and I will be that conspiracy theorist and say, based on what I see, there is an agenda against melanated people in terms of keeping us dumbed down to a certain level. And they do that through the media, because if I was an investor and I really wanted to change this, or if I was the government and I really wanted to change this, I would invest in some positive rappers. It's pretty simple. I would make the positive rappers cool. And once they're cool, the kids will look up to that. That's cool. But the kids look up to what's crazy. Like, since drill started popping off, everyone's walking around with balaclavas. It just shows you the influence of music and black culture upon the streets. Then you look at the black kids, and then you look at the white kids acting like they're black. You see it all throughout, and it's just, we can change it through the music.
You can change it through the music, and that's why I was eager to get you in the cab.
Yeah.
Because I know your music has such, it has such a message behind it.
Yeah.
What is it about, that kind of message within your music? What is it about, where are you getting your kind of lyrics from? Is it like everyday life?
I think the lyrics come from everyday life, but it's also messages. I feel like, as a spiritual person that I am.
Do you feel like a spirit is coming through you and you're kind of writing those lyrics?
Everything's spiritual. Everything's spiritual, even because it just drops in your head and you write it down. It's like everything is spiritual. It just, because we can't see it, we just don't think it is. But where do those lyrics come from? Where do those, like, why do you feel such a passion to rap this way? Like, I've dabbled in other sides and gone, yeah, maybe I should do something a bit more streety, maybe something a bit more. But every time I do it, I'm like, nah, this ain't it. I just feel it within myself. I don't like this. This is not me. Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like I've been put on here to be the balance. And whoever finds me finds an element of life or an element of God within. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, that's how I feel. It's like, especially on stage, there's definitely an energy that takes over on stage. And I believe that that's a God-given energy. It's like,
how do you feel?
Just powerful. I feel like when I hold the mic and I'm on the stage, it's my stage and you're going to listen and the voice of God is going to flow through me and no one can say nothing. And that's it. And I feel like, yeah, that's why I do it. That's why I continue to do it. Even times when I fall off and I don't feel like doing it. Like recently I've been feeling a bit, and then you come along. Do you know what I mean? And there's an interview, then Blade comes on. It's always something that keeps me on the path, because it's deeper than just music, It's deeper than music. It's not just about money and music. It's about our people and, helping people, man, and giving them another option. And that's the most important thing for me, giving them another option. It's not every day listen to this type of music, there's also that, and making that option available. And sometimes you have to be the sacrificial lamb. You might not make money from it, you might not be, but you just have to do that for humanity. It's just the right thing to do.
What kind of message would you send to the, to the younger generation? I mean, is there kind of like a bit of a positive message you can send to them?
I think it's really about being yourself, identifying your strengths and using it for a positive purpose. It's pretty simple. Like, identify what your strengths are and use it for a positive purpose. There's no need to be this bad guy. It's all right to be the good guy. There's nothing wrong with being a good guy. A lot of the time we want to be the bad guy. I've done this, but what's the point? Be the good guy. There's nothing wrong with it.
In terms of production as well, do you produce your own music?
No, so I've got loads of producers that, like, NJ Crisp is one of my favourite producers, Mantis. So I work with a lot of different producers. I just do a lot of the writing, to be fair.
Yeah, you're more the lyricist.
Yeah, I do more of the writing, and then they do all of the other stuff.
And in terms of other MCs, who are you kind of rating as well at the moment? There must be so many.
Yeah, for me, it's got to touch my heart for me to listen to it. If it don't really touch me, and I don't really listen to it. But again, there's a lot of street rappers that I listen to, like people wouldn't even know, like Potter Paper, one of my favourite rappers. Because I like rappers that talk about stuff, but it's not about the glorifying of it. Do you get what I'm saying? They don't glorify it. Like, if you listen to their whole story, it's not they're not glorifying that. So like Potter Paper, My favorite rappers: Jay Electronica, Nas, you know, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole. In the UK scene, I was very inspired by Jar Jar Souls from Brixton. You know, he definitely got me on that positive, like, rah, you know, Wretch 32, you know, but it's very limited. Koji Radical, you know, there's a few artists that catch me, but yeah, it's not many, I'll be honest. And that's not a bad thing. Everyone just has their preference.
And what does what does music and, you know, being an MC and that, what does that kind of mean to you in terms of creativity? Do you kind of get lost in the music?
Do you know what? I think as I've been getting, I think when I was younger, it was all about being the best lyricist. And I think now I'm at a point of delivering the message. So I'm not trying to be the best lyricist. But when that was it, because you had to be the best. That was how I looked at it. I'm the best rapper here, case closed. That's how I felt. Now it's more about, let's deliver the message. Let's get people thinking. How can I get people to, you know, impact some positivity in somebody's brain subconsciously, which will later take effect, I don't know, maybe a week down the line or something, you know. But yeah.
Do you work with youth as well?
100%, yeah. So I work with youth.
What do you do?
I've done careers advice work with youth. I've done support work with youth. I've done motivational speaking with youth. You know, I've done it, like, my whole thing has been with youth. I've done it, like, I breathe it. You know, I've impacted lives. I've helped people. I've showed them a other way. I've showed people how to be unique. I've showed them how to be themselves. Like, be you, you know, and I'm in that particular role at the moment, you know. And that's what I want to keep doing. Do you know what I mean? Helping them. Like, be yourself. Like, that's my main thing. Be yourself. Don't try and be like Tom, Dick and Harry. Don't, like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm sitting here with this hat on my head. I'm being myself. Do you get it? I wear boots. I don't wear what other people wear. I am myself. And sometimes, as much as it gets challenging, I always remind myself, be yourself. That's where it lies. Yeah,
so tell me about some of, you know, your music from the past. I mean, some of your tracks are on, but I mean, you've got such an amazing portfolio of music. You know, Armageddon part, what's that, part 1 to...
Yeah.
1
okay,
to 5,
you found
is it?
Yeah, 1 to 5.
1 to 5?
I think so. I've got loads of records,
You've got so much, you know, material out there. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You know, tell me about some of them tracks. Is there also like message within
everything? Ever since I started making music, I've not compromised my integrity. Never. I've always, there has to be a message. Do you know, I feel like musicians are messengers. I feel like even the prophets in the Bible were poets. Like, we download this stuff and we deliver it to the people. So, like Bob Marley and all of that, there was always a message. The greatest artists always had a message. Kendrick Lamar has a message. J. Cole has it's imperative. Like, I feel like we're just instruments of God. We are God's instruments, and it's like, deliver the message. Sometimes the message goes to 1 million people. Sometimes it travels to just 5 people. But your job is to deliver the message, man. So my music has always been delivered. And even when I didn't know I was delivering a message, I was delivering a message. Do you know what I mean? It's later that I reflect. I was like, oh damn, like, what was I even talking about there? Oh geez, that was a message. And that's it.
And you got your own record label as well?
For the People, but it's just starting up. It's like, that's what I release my music through. Like, when I do my stuff independently, it's called For the People. All my work and stuff that I do with young people, everything comes through For the People. Yeah.
For the People.
Yeah.
So how can people kind of get in touch? And, you know, what is it, Bandcamp for your music, or?
Yeah, I need to get on all of that. And it's crazy. It's like, I'm now becoming more business oriented with music because it's just a message. So a lot of the stuff is on Spotify, YouTube. I've got loads of stuff on YouTube Music, Spotify. I've got some stuff on Bandcamp. Boy Nash.
Boy Nash.
Yeah, Boy Nash. The Boy Nash. THE, the Boy Nash. Everything's Boy Nash. If you type it on Google, it's gonna come up on the internet. Boy Nash. Everything just pops up. You know. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Boy Nash.
And tell me about the new EP as well. I mean, I can't wait because you're gonna drop a track shortly for the new EP. I can't wait to listen to that. So tell me quickly about the new EP.
So yeah, Leave the World Behind.
What's the reason for that title?
I was planning to drop it last year. And I think, to be fair, I've been honest, I've been getting weary with music. So I've not been in music as much, which I should be. You know, like right now I'm at a point where before I would just write as a form of discipline, but now I'm at a point of inspiration. I don't move unless I'm inspired. I don't care if it takes me 5 years, it takes me 10 months. I'm not playing that game. I move when I feel it in me to move. So Leave the World Behind, I felt it in me last year to drop. I never dropped it. And then I had these 4 records that were there, and I was like, these records make so much sense to release. Where the world is, what's going on, you know. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna drop these 4 records. So Leave the World Behind is based off, not off the movie, but inspired by the movie Leave the World Behind. And it's also a message to, like, the world as we see it nowadays is mashed up. It's not the world that it used to be. So leave the world behind and get back to yourself. Start looking within yourself, you know. And also the tracks talk about what I believe is going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I believe that we are en route to riots. I believe that the West is going to fall, and where we looked at the West as being a powerhouse and the structure of money and it's not going to be that in the next couple of years. And there's going to be a lot of truths that are going to be revealed, and that's why the title's Leave the World Behind, because everything we've been taught could potentially be a lie.
It's been an absolute honour chatting to you as
Thank
well,
you.
Nash. Really has been nice to kind of get a little bit of a background, kind of, you know, about you know, about the music and the inspirations and all that. And I hope you've enjoyed this kind of little
Definitely.
cab chat.
Yeah.
Kind of chilled. I know it's a bit different being in the back of a London black cab.
Yeah.
But
That's been great.
yeah,
It's been great. I've really enjoyed it.
no,
It's
and
been
I
great.
can feel your presence as well.
Yeah.
You're very, very spiritual, aren't you?
Very, like, I pride myself in that. Like, that's how I move. You
Yeah.
know? It's difficult at times because sometimes not everyone gets you, but I've just learned to just maneuver how I maneuver, man. And I'm passionate about helping. I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about my people and people in general, not just like black people. Obviously, I am passionate about my people because of what we've been through.
You want the healing.
Yes, but I'm passionate about all people. You know what I mean? I don't like injustice to anybody. I hate it.
But you want that. You want the unity.
Come on, that's what I want us to. Yeah,
Unite.
we need to. It's important. It's important.
Yeah. No. And I'll tell you, let's quickly go out the old school way before you drop a tune. Is there anyone you want to kind of give a little shout out to, or do you want to give a shout out to, you know, everybody you kind of know?
Yeah, man. I mean, big up to everyone who supported me on the journey. People who take inspiration from what I say. You know, like anyone who connects with my music. You know, shout out to like my mastermind group. You know, DK, Ariel. You know, my engineer Mantis, who's recorded me for like 10 years plus and always shown me love. My manager Icicle, who's always given me that, you know, we're spiritual in our own right, giving me advice and stuff. And just anyone who's just like, I don't want to leave anyone out, you know what I mean? But everyone who's around me, like, you know, my artwork guy, Desmond, just a lot of people, anyone who's around doing, and anyone who's doing positivity, man, trying to change the situation that we're in and still pushing forward in this, you know, wicked system that we're in at the moment, you know, I mean.
Yeah, so this is off the new brand new EP.
Yeah.
And what track are you going to do?
It's called Jacob Spirit.
Jacob Spirit?
Yeah, it was a freestyle that I'd done, but I thought, yeah, it's only right I put it on a record and, you know, give it to the people. So it's called Jacob Spirit, yeah.
Jacob Spirit. So this is off the new EP. Anyone watching this, I'm going to put the link in the description box below where you can click on that and go to Boy Nash's page to support his music.
Perfect.
But you ready to rock this thing?
Yeah.
Let's get the cab fired up.
All right, cool. Let's go.
And,
Yeah. Oh. If Twitter's full of followers, where are all the leaders? Instagram's full of filters who can show me where the real is. Black lives matter, hope I convince you that I matter. And if I don't see results, I'll use my economic power. Words from Deuteronomy seen in today's reality. Grab me a shank, I had to cut off all this vanity. I ain't begging for equality, karma will soon speak. For the bloodshed, atrocities buried within our memories. The label black and white, that's a recipe for calamity. A Latin spell recited by many on a daily. False sense of identity, DNA's memory. Knowledge of hereditary, ancestors speak through me. About I can't breathe, speak life, not defeat. I ain't getting on one knee unless I'm proposing to my queen. Black on black crime, I see through their white lies. You're not white and I'm not black. What do these two colors mean if you ask me? It's like they had their intent. Played around with our brain and made us sabotage ourselves. That's why Kadeem's got a beam ready to light up his op. Protect what he's got. There's no rules to his job apart from get the keys gone without himself getting locked. Lucifer and elite plotting on Jacob's seed. Their trickery making us feel like we're docile and weak. Wolves playing sheep, slave patrol, now police. Pastors resting in deceit, the mass awakening is peak. I cut out red meat, the way they kill the cow is mean. Plus they rear them with drugs, I bet there's steroids in their jeans. I was 14 on the block, I used to pull up with a butcher's knife ready for the beef. Now I just pray to Yahuwah and done demons in my sleep. Shalom. Yeah. Our story, his story, your story. I told them it's our story. It's his story, your story, my story. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is incredible, Nash.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, man. Them lyrics.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you, that tune? That track?
Yeah, do you know what? My friend inspired it. He inspired it. One of my friends called Leon, he didn't know this. We had a conversation and was talking about colour, and he was like, colour is just a social construct designed to separate us, and that's where that came from.
Wow.
You know, and then a lot of lies that we've been told, I felt like it can be, we can see past those lies. Like, you know, like when I say lines like you're not white and I'm not black, what do these two colors mean? You know, because I look at it as like, you're not white and I'm not black. Like, why is there differentiation between us? We're just all human, right?
Just the colour of our skin.
Exactly.
We've all got the same colour blood running through our veins. Do you know what I'm saying? And we all come from the same place.
Exactly. And it's like, I don't run around calling the Asian man yellow man. Do you know what I mean? So where did all of this come from? Or brown man, or, you know, so it's like, that's where this freestyle, so it means a lot to me. Like, you know, it's one of my favorite freestyles that I've written, you know, the way it came to me. Yeah, I love it. And I think it's self-explanatory, and it touches people every single time I rhyme it. So it's only right I put it.
Incredible tune, Nash.
Thank you.
But listen, it's an absolute blessing to have you in the cab.
No worries.
And once again, I hope you've enjoyed this little cab chat. I know it's kind of a bit different, isn't it? But
I loved it, man. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. It kind of inspired me to know, you know, sometimes I need these things to inspire me, to make sure it's like they're little omens to prove that, yeah, you're on the right track. You know, so thank you.
And I think, you know, we must do at some stage, we must do a part 2.
100.
And obviously big up to my man Blade. I know you've just dropped a track with on Blade's channel as well, isn't it?
Yeah, should be out soon at some point.
Which is mad, because I sent Blade a message, innit? I was like, oh, you got to get Boy Nash in. And he's like, he's coming in today.
Oh, wow.
I was like, wow.
Look at that.
And look at that. And we are outside Victoria.
Perfect.
Back at HQ. But Nash, listen, it's been an absolute honour
having you
so
in the
much.
cab. Thank you
Seriously.
So much. Yeah, thank you. Do I just leave this here or?
Yeah.
All right.
Listen, peace to everyone watching.
Yeah, peace to everyone watching, man. Stay positive, spread love, you know, keep it righteous.